Welcome back, dreamer. Tonight, we will be walking through the eternal library, where your body softens, your spirit listens, and your astral path begins to open. In this moment, sleep is more than rest. It is an astral passage beyond the veil. Before you get into your bed and relax, feel free to like the video and subscribe for future astral sleep journeys. Close your eyes slowly. Let your breath settle like soft waves upon the shore. Feel the quiet weight of your body resting safely beneath you. Let go of the noise of your day. Allow it to dissolve like mist beneath the rising stars. Tonight, your journey begins at the edge of forgotten knowledge, at the threshold of a place older than memory itself, a place where stories are not read, but felt, where silence holds more wisdom than words ever could. You will walk beneath the moonlit arch, an entrance carved from ancient stone, glowing faintly beneath an astral sky. You will pass through the whispering corridor, where every step you take stirs the soft voices of stories long asleep. You will enter the eternal library, a world suspended between time and space, a place where the walls stretch endlessly beyond sight, and the shelves breathe with memory. You will meet the librarian who has no face, a guardian of forgotten dreams, a presence older than any book, and you will wander through the shelf of lost dreams, where every forgotten wish lingers in quiet stillness. These are the places waiting for you tonight. These are the paths ready to open beneath your sleeping mind. All you must do now is breathe, relax, and allow yourself to drift. Allow yourself to follow me into the quiet heart of the eternal library, where your astral journey continues to unfold with every step, with every breath, with every dream. Somewhere beyond the veil of sleep, beyond the fading memories of your day, beyond the final thought that lingers behind your closing eyes, there rises a shape in the soft distance of your mind. It is not a place built of stone alone, but of time itself, woven together from the quiet breath of stories forgotten and memories waiting like dust upon old pages. You feel yourself standing, not with your body, but with something lighter, something softer, as if your very presence has become weightless in the hush of this world. Before you arches the entrance, an enormous curve of stone, weathered not by rain or wind, but by the endless passing of dreams. This is the moonlit arch, its surface glowing with a faint silver light, as though the moon itself left fingerprints here long ago, when the world was still young enough to remember how to listen. At first, it is barely noticeable, a sensation rather than a noise, like the breath of paper turning in a distant room, or the whisper of silk brushing gently against stone. But as you move deeper, you realize it is everywhere. Every wall, every floor tile, every archway above your head is humming softly with ancient voices. Not words spoken aloud, but stories still lingering, trapped like tiny stars within the stone, waiting only for a listener. The corridor curves gently ahead of you, its walls impossibly high, lost in a soft mist that drifts just above your vision, lit faintly by orbs of pale light that hover in silence, neither flame nor star, but something astral, something alive. You run your fingertips along the wall beside you, not to guide yourself, but because it feels natural, because the stone is warm beneath your touch, and beneath that warmth you feel it, a vibration like a heartbeat too slow to hear, but too ancient to ignore. You understand, without question, without explanation. Every person who has ever dreamed has passed through here. Every soul that ever sought a story has left behind echoes in these walls, and the corridor remembers them all. Your footsteps make no sound, not because the floor is soft, but because this place does not need reminders of your presence. It knows you are here. It has always known. Somewhere ahead, there is a soft curve to the right, and beyond that curve, a door waits. A door unlike any other, not carved or built or set with hinges, but shaped from stillness itself. It waits not for a hand to open it, but for the readiness within you, the stillness in your breath, the slowness in your heart. And as you approach, the whispers grow softer, not fading, but folding gently into the silence between thoughts, until you are standing before the door, motionless, calm, present. The door will feel you, it will know you, and it will open, not because you forced it to, but because you finally remembered how to enter a place built not of walls, but of stories. And then it happens, without sound, without movement, without effort. The door that stood before you begins to dissolve, not like stone crumbling, not like wood creaking open, but like mist pulled slowly apart by the softness of your breath. You step forward, not because the door has opened, but because the space beyond has begun to receive you, like calm water welcoming a single drop of rain, like night accepting the quiet glow of a distant star. And for a moment, there is nothing but stillness, no sound, no weight, no edge to the world around you, until your next step carries you into the very heart of something vast, something endless, something older than any dream you have ever known. The eternal library. It stretches before you in all directions, not as a single hall or chamber, but as a world unto itself. Rows upon rows of shelves rise into a sky that does not end, their shapes soft and curved, woven from materials you cannot name, neither stone nor wood nor metal, but something in between, something dreamed into existence. Each shelf hums faintly with its own presence, as though the stories they carry have grown restless over centuries of silence, waiting not for eyes to read them, but for hearts to feel them. Between the shelves, the air glows faintly, like starlight trapped in glass, or like memories hovering just beyond reach. Somewhere high above you, floating platforms drift gently between the impossible heights. Their paths slow, graceful. A slow current moves through the air, carrying the scent of old paper and fresh ink, carrying the warmth of candlelight and the chill of distant memory. Far to your left, a spiral staircase curves upward without beginning or end, its steps moving gently on their own, slowly rotating in place like the hands of a clock that has forgotten time. Far to your right, a low table waits beneath a pool of soft light, its surface empty, but surrounded by chairs that seem to shift their shape the longer you look. And directly ahead of you, rising from the floor like a monument of quiet presence, stands a figure, tall, still, faceless, the librarian, its shape neither male nor female, neither human nor entirely other, clad in soft flowing robes that move as though stirred by thoughts instead of wind. It has no face, no eyes or mouth, but somehow you feel its attention settle upon you, not heavy, not judging, simply aware, and in its presence you feel no need to speak, no need to explain, no need to be anything other than exactly who and what you are. You have entered the eternal library. The librarian raises one hand, and as the silence deepens around you, as the shelves hum a little softer, as the lights above sway like distant stars, you understand. Your journey is just beginning. Are you ready to see the floating books of memory? Books that do not rest on shelves or beneath glass, but drift weightlessly in the silent air of this eternal place. As you take your first step away from the librarian's quiet gaze, a subtle current brushes against you, not wind, not breath, but the soft movement of presence itself. The air here does not feel empty. It feels alive, woven with invisible threads that carry fragments of thought, slivers of memory, and whispers of stories waiting to be touched. Before you, scattered like stars caught in slow motion, dozens, no, hundreds of books drift in the open space between towering shelves, floating effortlessly, glowing faintly with colors that shift like distant auroras. Each book is unlike anything you have ever seen. Their covers shaped not only from leather or cloth, but from strange, shimmering materials that feel older than words themselves. Some ripple gently like water suspended in midair, Some glimmer like moonlight frozen into form. Some pulse softly, their light growing and fading with the rhythm of a silent heartbeat. They are not placed here, they are resting here, held in suspension by something unseen, something patient, something impossibly ancient. You step closer, moving slowly, instinctively careful not to disturb the quiet balance of the space, though a part of you already knows. You cannot disturb what does not fear movement. One of the books drifts near you, turning lazily in the soft current, its surface covered in symbols that seem to reshape themselves the longer you look. Not static, not fixed, but fluid like thought itself. Without thinking, without reaching, you feel a gentle pull within your chest, as though the book itself is waiting for your presence to come closer. Not your hand, not your voice, but your quiet attention. And when you draw near enough, something extraordinary happens. A faint glow rises from the surface of the book, tiny threads of light unwinding from its spine, drifting upward like soft mist, curling toward the ceiling of this endless library. You feel no need to grab the book, no need to open it or claim it. Instead, you simply stand in the quiet center of these floating echoes, letting them wrap around you like warmth in a world of silence. You turn slowly and realize that hundreds more books drift in the space around you, their lights rising and falling, each one holding a universe of forgotten moments, waiting patiently for someone willing to feel rather than read. Further ahead, you see a path opening between the shelves, carved not by walls or lines, but by the gentle arrangement of floating books moving slightly aside as you approach, as though they know your journey must continue. Have you ever wondered how powerful the scent of forgotten stories could be? How a single breath within this ancient place can awaken memories not from your life, but from the very soul of the astral world itself. As you walk deeper into the eternal library, leaving behind the gentle glow of the floating books, you begin to notice something almost invisible at first, subtle, faint, but undeniably present. It is not sound, it is not sight. It is something softer, something older, something that lives within the air itself. Scent, but not the sharpness of flowers, not the weight of wood or stone. This scent is layered, woven from moments, feelings, distant echoes of things lost and remembered all at once. The further you step into this part of the library, the more the air seems to change, growing warmer, softer, heavier with invisible threads of forgotten time. And it does not come from one place alone. It rises from the very walls, from the ancient shelves that curve endlessly above you, from the smooth floor beneath your weightless steps, From the very heart of the books, resting silently in their eternal slumber, you close your eyes for just a moment and allow yourself to inhale slowly, deeply, fully. But there is more. There is a layer beneath all of this. A scent that does not belong to anything you know from the waking world. It is the scent of memory itself, the scent of dreams that were never spoken aloud, the scent of stories that never found words, the scent of moments that lived only in feeling, and it moves through you not like perfume, but like music without sound, a quiet hum beneath your ribs, an echo within your chest. You feel yourself slowing, not because you must, but because the very air asks you to move gently here, to feel rather than rush, to remember rather than search. Somewhere nearby, you see small alcoves carved between the shelves, not rooms exactly, but soft spaces where the air seems even thicker with presence. Inside them, the scent deepens. One space carries the smell of distant rain, cool and fresh, but weighted with the sadness of something once lost. Another carries the dry warmth of sunlight caught in cloth, the way childhood memories sometimes wrap around you on days you no longer remember in detail, but never forgotten feeling. You only need to feel, and the more you feel, the more the space around you seems to accept you. A place where even the air moves slower, heavier, where stone curves upward into impossibly tall spirals, carrying you toward new stories not yet read, but waiting to be felt. It is ahead of you now, just beyond this breath. And as you prepare to take that step, the scent lingers still within you, not fading, not forgotten, but becoming a part of you forever. Have you ever felt the pull of a place like the staircase that moves slowly, where every step is less about reaching somewhere and more about surrendering to the quiet rhythm of time itself? As you walk further into the eternal library, past the lingering sense of forgotten stories, past the gentle glow of floating books, the world around you begins to change once again. The shelves still rise like ancient guardians on either side of you, but now the air feels heavier, denser, not in weight, but in depth, as though each breath carries you not only through space, but deeper into memory itself. And then, just ahead, you see it, rising from the center of a vast open space, coiling upward like a slow-moving river of stone, is the staircase that moves slowly. It does not reach to the ceiling, because here there is no ceiling. It does not lead to a floor above, because here direction has lost all meaning. It simply rises, curling gently upward into the soft glow of floating lights and suspended stories, moving not because of gears or magic, but because time itself wills it forward at its own unhurried pace. The staircase is made of a stone unlike any you have touched, soft beneath your feet, smooth like glass worn down by countless steps, but warmer, almost alive. As you step toward it, there is no need to rush. In fact, to rush would feel unnatural, impossible even. Your body slows on its own. Your breath deepens without effort, and each step forward feels not like motion, but like falling deeper into stillness. The base of the staircase curves gently outward, inviting, welcoming, without expectation, without demand. You lift your foot, and as you set it down upon the first step, a gentle hum rises beneath you, not loud, not sharp, but soft, like the sound of a heartbeat heard through layers of ancient stone. And as you climb step by step, the world beneath you begins to shift, not visually, but within, not cold, but clear, as though you have risen beyond the warmth of old stories and entered the quiet edge of something new, a space waiting to be discovered, a moment waiting to be felt. And just ahead, where the staircase curves one last time, you see it, a doorway of light, neither solid nor empty, shimmering like the surface of water beneath 1,000 distant stars. A doorway leading to the next part of your journey, not because you have reached the top, but because you have reached the right stillness within yourself. And as you step gently from the final stair, leaving behind the hum of ancient stone, you feel lighter, softer, more present than you have ever felt before. And just beyond this light, something waits, something quiet, something sacred, something beautifully unknown. Have you ever stood before a presence like the librarian who has no face? A being that sees not your appearance, but the very shape of your thoughts, your memories, your quiet self beneath all words. As you step away from the final curve of the moving staircase, the air itself seems to shift around you, softening, thickening, growing impossibly quiet. You are no longer surrounded by shelves or books, no longer held by the sense of old stories or the glow of floating memories. Here, everything is space, endless, open, still, but not empty. At the heart of this vast, silent chamber, you see it, tall, motionless, waiting. The librarian who has no face. Its form rises like a statue carved not from stone, but from stillness itself. Robes of soft, flowing fabric drift gently around its body, moving not with wind, but with thought, with attention. Where a face might be, there is only softness, no eyes, no mouth, no edges, and yet, somehow, you feel its gaze upon you, not heavy, not sharp, but impossibly calm, This is not a gaze that looks at what you seem to be. This is a gaze that sees what you are, an invitation to exist exactly as you are. You feel your shoulders soften, your breath slow, your thoughts grow quiet, and in that moment, the space between you fills with something deeper than words, a knowing, a connection. Open, relax. You are no longer a visitor here. You are part of this place, part of its stories, its silence, its ancient patience. The librarian lingers for just a moment longer, as though ensuring you understand not with your mind, but with your heart. And then, slowly, gracefully, the thread of light fades, not lost, but absorbed into the very rhythm of your being, without a single word spoken, without a single step taken. You feel the librarian step back, not away from you, but into you, as though its presence will remain with you always, as quiet guidance, as peaceful memory, as the permission to be entirely yourself. And somewhere beyond this quiet space, another path waits, not because you must leave, but because every journey within the eternal library carries you deeper still, deeper into feeling, deeper into memory, deeper into the soft, endless heart of the astral world. Have you ever stood before the shelf of lost dreams, a place where every forgotten wish, every half-formed hope, and every abandoned dream lingers quietly, not gone, not erased, but waiting, as you step away from the quiet presence of the librarian who has no face? The world around you seems to shimmer, not with light exactly, but with the subtle glow of things left behind. The air grows warmer here, softer, heavier, like the pause between heartbeats, like the stillness before memory returns. Ahead of you, rising from the quiet floor, like the spine of some great sleeping creature, is a shelf unlike any other in this eternal place. It curves slowly upward, impossibly long, impossibly tall, stretching beyond sight, disappearing into the soft mist above, the shelf of lost dreams. You feel it before you truly see it. A gentle hum beneath your ribs, a quiet ache beneath your breath, a sense of being surrounded not by books, but by moments left unfinished. As you approach, you begin to notice them, not objects exactly, not books or scrolls or pages, but shapes, faint and translucent, hovering within the open spaces of the shelf. Some shimmer like glass touched by moonlight. Others drift gently, like smoke caught in an endless pause. Each one is different, each one shaped by the dream it once carried. A child's hope forgotten by morning, a wish whispered too softly to survive the noise of life, an idea left unspoken, a feeling never given words. waiting for nothing more than presence. You step closer, and as you do, some of the shapes seem to stir, not urgently, not desperately, but gently, like a sigh released after years of quiet stillness. One shape floats near you, soft and small, its glow faint, fragile, a memory of laughter shared with someone long gone. It is not yours, and yet it feels like it could have been, because here, dreams belong not to ownership, but to connection. You let the shape drift past you, honoring its presence without taking it. And as you move deeper along the shelf, more shapes hover in silence, more forgotten dreams resting without sorrow, without regret. Some larger, vibrant even in their stillness. Some so faint they seem ready to vanish at the slightest touch, but none of them do. A garden of moments given their own quiet eternity. As you reach the end of the shelf, the shapes grow softer, fewer, the air grows lighter, and just ahead, the path opens once again, not because you have finished here, but because you have remembered what needed to be felt. And the shelf of lost dreams, like every part of this library, whispers not for you to stay forever, but for you to carry its peace with you, wherever your journey leads next. Have you ever stood before the window to other worlds, where beyond the glass there is not one sky, but infinite skies, not one reality, but countless astral realms floating like distant dreams across an endless sea of stars? As you leave behind the shelf of lost dreams, the path ahead begins to widen. The shelves pull away from each other, the ceiling stretches impossibly high, and the soft hum of forgotten dreams grows quieter, replaced by something even more delicate, the sound of open space. You feel it before you see it, a stillness in the air. As you approach, the scene beyond the window shifts, not because the worlds move, but because your presence changes what you are shown. Far in the distance, islands float through golden mist, their shapes delicate, their shores glowing faintly as though carved from dreams. Above them, great rivers of starlight curve gently across the sky, flowing not with water, but with liquid memory, shimmering and pulsing like the breath of the universe itself. And scattered between these worlds, you see forms moving. Some are familiar, silhouettes like birds or drifting creatures. Others are unlike anything you have ever known, shapes built of light, of thought, of sound, a reality waiting to be entered. Perhaps some of these places are where dreams are born. Perhaps others are where forgotten souls find rest. Perhaps some have already felt your presence long before you arrived here. As you gaze deeper, shapes shift, new visions appear. A forest where the leaves glow like distant stars. An ocean suspended in the sky, its waves moving slowly in perfect silence. A city built not of stone or metal, but of drifting clouds shaped by ancient songs. You lose track of time here, because here, time is meaningless. Only presence matters. You stand in stillness, letting your breath slow, letting your heart settle, feeling yourself not separated from these worlds, but gently connected to them. And though this window stands before you, clear and solid, you know, the true barrier is never glass. It is thought, it is readiness, and someday, perhaps not now, perhaps not tonight, you may find yourself walking beneath the golden mist of one of these distant worlds, not because you forced your way there, but because your spirit was ready to remember the path. And as you take a final look beyond the window, as the stars shimmer softly in endless patterns of meaning, you feel peace, not for what you have seen, but for what you now know is waiting somewhere out there and within you. Have you ever wondered what it feels like to sit before the reading table of souls? A place where words are not read with eyes, but absorbed directly into the quiet of your being. As you leave behind the breathtaking view of the window to other worlds, the library gently shifts around you once again. The open space narrows, the light softens, the floating shelves seem to lean inward, as if guiding you towards something sacred, and ahead of you, beneath a soft circle of astral glow, waits the reading table of souls. It rests at the very heart of this part of the library, not large, not grand, but ancient, calm, undeniably alive. Its surface is not carved from wood or stone, but from something far older, something that feels neither solid nor soft, but perfect in its stillness. The table glows faintly, not like a light shining outward, but like warmth rising from deep within. Around it, chairs rest quietly, shaped not by hands, but by presence. They seem to adjust themselves slowly, reshaping as if breathing, waiting for those who truly need to sit. As you approach, a gentle hum rises from beneath the table, soft, steady, like the heartbeat of the library itself. This is not a place for everyone. This is not a place for rushing thoughts or restless hands. This is a place for those willing to feel. You step closer, and something extraordinary happens. The air changes, growing softer around your body. The space between you and the table feels charged with memory, with stories not written, but living, and without needing to think, without needing to decide. You find yourself sitting. The chair beneath you adjusts effortlessly, holding you with perfect ease. Before you, the surface of the table begins to shimmer, not with images, not with pages, but with presence. A soft light rises slowly from the center of the table, spinning gently, like the breath of a forgotten dream awakening once more. And within that light, you feel them as you sit quietly, allowing the glow to settle around you. You feel fragments of stories begin to unfold within your heart. Not words exactly, but images, sensations, feelings. A promise made beneath a sky filled with falling stars. They drift through you like warmth carried on the softest breeze, not overwhelming, not demanding, simply existing within you, as if they had always belonged there. And the longer you sit, the deeper the connection grows, not louder, not faster, just deeper, until the space between you and the stories disappears completely, until the only thing left is stillness, presence, belonging, not as words, but as pieces of your own growing memory, guiding you forward toward whatever waits next within this endless library. Have you ever wondered how it feels to stand before the book that whispers your name? A book that waits not to be found, but to find you, calling not to your ears, but to your very soul. As you leave the sacred stillness of the reading table of souls behind, the path ahead feels different, lighter, quieter, as though every step carries you deeper, not into the library itself, but into your own memory. The shelves here grow taller, darker, their surfaces covered not in dust, but in the soft shimmer of time itself. And somewhere in the quiet hum of this place, you begin to notice it, soft at first, barely there, a sound that is not a sound, a whisper, not searching, simply allowing. And as you move forward, the whisper grows warmer, closer, not louder exactly, but clearer, until you reach a small alcove bathed in soft astral glow. Floating just above an ancient pedestal of stone rests the book, not large, not imposing, simple, humble, perfect. Its surface shimmers faintly, changing color like distant waves of thought, neither solid nor entirely visible, as if the book exists somewhere between form and feeling. You step closer, and the whisper becomes unmistakable, calling not with words, but with recognition, calling because it has always known you. Without hesitation, you reach out your hand, not to take, but to feel. And as your fingertips brush against its surface, the book responds. A soft pulse rises beneath your touch, like a heartbeat slow and eternal. Threads of light unwind from its spine, drifting gently upward, surrounding you not like vines or chains, but like memories finally given space to bloom. And within those threads, you feel them, your stories, not as you told them, but as you lived them, moments of wonder long forgotten, fragments of dreams that once shaped you, feelings so deep they existed beyond language. You do not open the book, because here you do not need to. The book opens within you, and in that moment, there is peace unlike any you have ever known. Not because you have discovered something new, but because you have remembered something ancient, something that was always yours. A quiet knowing rises within your heart. You have heard it, you have felt it, and it will never truly leave you again. As you step back slowly, the book returns to its perfect stillness, waiting once more, not forgotten, not lonely, but ready for the next moment when someone, somewhere, is ready to feel their own name in the softest voice the universe knows. And as you turn to continue your journey, the library stretches before you once more, silent, endless, patient, and always waiting. Have you ever found yourself walking through the spiral gallery, a place where paths do not lead forward or back, but endlessly around, drawing you not deeper into distance, but gently into yourself? As you leave behind the whisper of your name, still lingering quietly within your heart, the space ahead of you begins to shift. The straight lines of the library's grand corridor soften. The sharp edges of shelves melt slowly into curves. Walls seem to lean, bending like the flow of ancient rivers, spiraling without end. You have entered the spiral gallery, and from the very first step, you feel the difference. The floor beneath your feet is no longer smooth and silent. It carries a faint pulse beneath its surface, a rhythm that rises not from the stone itself, but from the stories carried within it. As you step forward, the walls begin to rise around you in slow, graceful arcs, their surfaces covered not in books or shelves, but in countless symbols, glowing faintly like starlight caught beneath water. These are not symbols to be read. They are to be felt. They pulse gently as you pass them, responding not to your touch, but to your very presence. The path curves slowly to your left, then your right, always leading you forward, but never in a straight line. Here, direction is meaningless. Here, distance bends like memory itself. As you walk, you begin to notice shapes moving within the walls. Not figures exactly, not shadows, but echoes. You feel your breath slow without effort, your heart moving in rhythm with the gentle spiral of the world around you. Here, walking is not about reaching somewhere new. It is about remembering where you already are. You begin to lose the need to hurry, your steps growing softer, your pace falling perfectly in time with the pulse beneath your feet. Every curve leads you to another, Every turn folds you gently into the heart of the gallery, and slowly you begin to notice something else. High above you, suspended in the endless spiral, there drift small orbs of light, like stars caught in orbit, moving slowly along their own invisible paths. Each one feels like a thought, a dream, a possibility. And as you walk, some of them begin to drift lower, until you are walking not only through the spiral gallery, but through the very flow of thought itself. Your mind quiets, your heart settles. You are no longer walking through a place. You are walking through a moment, through memory, through stillness, and somewhere ahead, where the spiral grows tighter, where the curves begin to fold closer, another space waits, a space beyond movement, beyond thought, beyond sound, waiting for you to arrive slowly, perfectly, exactly when you are ready. Have you ever dared to step into the lightless section, a place within the eternal library where sight dissolves completely, and only trust, feeling, and presence remain? As you leave behind the soft spiral of the gallery, where stars drift and memories glow faintly in the curves of forgotten walls, the path ahead begins to change. The light grows thinner. The gentle glow of the library fades behind you, and ahead there is only shadow. But this is not darkness born of absence. This is darkness born of intention. You have reached the lightless section, a place that does not welcome the eye, but calls quietly to the heart. You pause for a moment at its threshold, allowing yourself to breathe slowly, deeply, but you do not feel lost. Strangely, impossibly, you feel found, because here, nothing distracts you from yourself. Here, every thought, every breath, every movement becomes clearer, sharper, quieter. You take a slow step forward, trusting not your vision, but the steady rhythm of your breath, the grounded presence of your own body. And as you move, something extraordinary happens. You begin to feel the library around you, not through sight, but through subtle sensation. The air grows cooler near certain places, warmer near others. The floor beneath your feet carries a faint vibration, not constant, but like the pulse of something impossibly ancient, sleeping beneath the surface. Every sound you make, the soft brush of your movement, the gentle shift of your breath, comes back to you slightly changed, slightly distant, as though the space itself is listening and responding. You are not alone here, but you are not surrounded by people. You are surrounded by presence, by stories resting not in pages, but in pure feeling. You stretch out a hand, not to touch, but to feel, and the air meets you softly, cool at first, then warm, then cool again. A language of space, a language of trust. You move slowly, steadily, letting the darkness become not an obstacle, but a companion. Because here, there is nothing to prove, nothing to perform. There is only being. There is only quiet. There is only truth. Far ahead, after what feels like moments or hours, you notice the faintest change, not a return of sight, but the soft sense of openness, as though the walls around you have widened, as though the space itself is preparing to release you gently back into light. You pause once more, letting the quiet of this place settle within you, not as something to escape, but as something to carry. And as you step forward once more, the air warms around you, the darkness softens, not vanishing, but changing, because the lightless section never truly leaves you. It remains. Have you ever stood at the edge of the ink river, a place where thought flows like liquid shadow, where forgotten words, ancient stories, and silent wisdom move endlessly beneath a surface darker than any night? As you leave behind the quiet heart of the lightless section, feeling its stillness lingering gently within your breath, the space ahead begins to shift once more. The air grows warmer, not heavy, but alive, as though every step draws you closer to something pulsing quietly beneath the surface of the world. And then you hear it, a sound that is not quite water, not quite wind, but something between the two, a slow, steady flow, deep and patient, like the turning of pages in a book far older than time itself. You step forward, and before you, stretching endlessly beneath a ceiling lost in mist, you see it. The ink river, it winds through the heart of the eternal library, its surface impossibly dark, impossibly still, reflecting nothing, yet holding everything. The river moves without rush, without sound, its currents shaped not by stone or gravity, but by thought itself. Stories untold, words unsaid, ideas never written, all drifting slowly within its endless flow. You move closer to its edge. The floor beneath your feet shifts from smooth stone to something softer, almost like ancient parchment worn thin beneath countless footsteps. And as you pause, standing at the quiet edge of this living river, you feel something stir within you. Not fear, but reverence. The ink river is not a place for questions. It is a place for listening. You crouch gently near its surface, not to touch, not to take, but to feel its presence more closely. And as you do, faint shapes begin to rise within the moving dark. Symbols you cannot read, fragments of language long forgotten, threads of thought drifting just beneath the surface. They curl and shift slowly, not for your eyes, but for your heart. Here, every ripple carries weight. Every movement tells a story without sound. Somewhere upstream, you sense ancient memories flowing quietly, stories born before your world ever woke, dreams whispered by countless souls who once stood exactly where you stand now. And somewhere downstream, beyond sight, beyond knowing, those same stories will drift forever, weaving their way through the endless spirals of the astral realms. You sit in stillness, breathing slowly, feeling the rhythm of the river without needing to understand. Because here, understanding is not given through knowledge. It is given through presence. The longer you sit, the deeper the connection becomes. The ink river begins to feel like part of you, or perhaps you have always been part of it. You realize that every thought you have ever carried, every word you have ever lost or forgotten, every dream left unwritten, flows here too. Have you ever imagined what it feels like to be crossing the bridge of words? A bridge not made of stone or wood, but woven entirely from ancient language, living thought, and stories waiting to carry you beyond. As you leave behind the quiet hum of the ink river, its black waters flowing endlessly in gentle silence, the path ahead begins to rise. You notice it first, not with your eyes, but with your heart, a faint vibration beneath your feet, a quiet hum in the air, a presence unlike anything you have felt before. And then you see it, suspended between two distant platforms of soft, glowing stone, stretching gracefully over the endless river of thought, is the bridge of words. It does not look solid. It does not look safe. It looks alive. The bridge curves delicately across the open space, its surface shimmering softly, not with metal, not with light, but with thousands upon thousands of glowing symbols, letters from languages forgotten, words never spoken, fragments of thought shaped into something strong enough to hold your every step. The closer you move toward it, the more you feel its presence rise around you, not heavy, but aware. The bridge of words knows who you are, not your name, but your story. You pause for a moment at its edge, feeling the pulse of the words beneath your feet, like a heartbeat carried not within your chest, but within the very air. And when you are ready, you take your first step. The surface of the bridge responds instantly, not changing, not moving, but glowing softly beneath your touch. Each step forward feels impossibly gentle, as though you are walking not on a surface, but across a thought suspended perfectly in time. You glance downward and realize that beneath the transparent shimmer of the bridge, the ink river still flows far below, carrying stories, carrying memory, carrying every word never spoken aloud. But here, above that endless current, you walk supported by words that have found their shape. Some words glow brighter as you pass, responding to your thoughts, your presence, your feelings. Perhaps they recognize your journey. Perhaps they recognize the dreams still resting quietly within you, and slowly, step by step, the bridge begins to feel less like something you are crossing and more like something you are becoming part of. You begin to notice subtle changes, symbols curling gently around your footsteps, soft trails of light rising briefly in your wake, not permanent, but present. Each movement is met with response, not judgment, not challenge, but quiet recognition, as though every story you have carried within you, every hope, every forgotten word, has always belonged to this place, to this bridge, to this library. And as you near the other side, the glow of the far platform rises to meet you. The hum beneath your feet softens. Have you ever stepped into the room where time sleeps? A place where every clock, every moment, every heartbeat falls silent, and only stillness remains, soft and endless. As you leave behind the glowing rhythm of the bridge of words, your footsteps return to silence. The air grows softer again, heavier, not with sound but with perfect calm. The path ahead narrows, the walls curve inward, the light fades gently into a warm golden dusk. And then, just ahead, you see it. An open doorway, simple, ancient, framed not by grand design, but by the quiet weight of patience. The room where time sleeps. Even before you step inside, you feel it, a quiet pull within your chest, not urging you forward, but asking you to arrive slowly, gently, completely, as though entering this room requires not motion, but surrender. And so you step forward. The moment you cross its threshold, everything changes. Sound disappears. Movement softens. Thought slows. You stand upon a floor smoother than any stone, warmer than any sunlight. Its surface hums faintly beneath your feet, not in rhythm, not in pulse, but in absolute stillness. The space around you stretches impossibly wide and impossibly close all at once. There are no walls here, no ceiling, no distant corners. Only soft golden haze drifting like mist through quiet eternity. And in this space, there is no time. Your breath slows naturally. Your heart forgets its pace. There is no past here, no future, only now. You walk without effort, your steps no longer measured by distance, but by feeling. The air wraps around you like the embrace of a memory you never lost, and every part of you begins to loosen, the weight of days left behind, the pull of thoughts fading into silence, even your own sense of self begins to soften. And in its sleep, it teaches you something rare, that life is not always measured by movement, that existence is not always measured by counting, that some of the deepest parts of yourself awaken only when everything else becomes still. You sit gently upon the warm floor, letting your breath settle into the quiet rhythm of being, feeling the strange comfort of having nowhere to go, nothing to chase, nothing to reach. You do not know how long you remain here. You step toward the far edge of the room, where the golden haze begins to lift, not because time has returned, but because you have learned what you needed to learn. And as you step beyond the room where time sleeps, you feel its lesson settle deep within you, a quiet reminder that sometimes the most powerful journeys are made by standing perfectly still. Have you ever stood before the wall of infinite symbols, a place where meaning is not fixed, where language becomes alive, and where every symbol you see seems to know exactly who you are? As you step away from the room where time sleeps, leaving behind the golden stillness and perfect silence of a world without moments, the air around you slowly changes once again. It grows cooler, lighter, but more electric, more aware. And ahead of you, rising taller than anything you have seen within the eternal library so far, is the wall of infinite symbols. It stretches upward beyond sight, its surface impossibly vast, curving gently across space like the boundary between thought and mystery. From a distance, it looks quiet, still, solid. But as you step closer, you realize something almost impossible. The wall is moving, not quickly, not chaotically, but with a slow, endless shifting, like the surface of water stirred gently by invisible hands. Upon its surface, symbols drift, thousands upon thousands of them, some familiar, shapes from languages long forgotten by your waking world, others completely alien, curves and lines and patterns that feel more like emotions than letters. And the closer you come, the more alive they become, not alive like creatures, alive like presence, like awareness, as though the wall itself is not made of stone, but of thought. You pause a few steps away, letting your breath slow, letting your heart soften, and as you stand still, watching, you begin to notice something extraordinary. Certain symbols glow brighter than others. Certain patterns seem to drift slowly toward where you are standing. Not random, not accidental, but in recognition. The wall is showing you pieces of yourself, not in words, not in stories, but in shapes, in light, in silent memory, without needing to move closer. You feel the connection building between you and this impossible surface. The longer you gaze, the more the symbols seem to reflect things you cannot say aloud. Fragments of forgotten dreams, patterns of thoughts never shared, feelings too deep for language, and slowly, certain symbols begin to arrange themselves just before you. A line like calm, a curve like hope, a mark like loss, a spiral like belonging. And you realize this wall has been here forever, not to be read, but to be felt. It carries every story not written, every word without translation, every part of every soul that never needed to explain itself in speech. You step gently forward, lifting a hand not to touch, but to honor. And the symbols nearest your fingers glow faintly brighter, not to give you knowledge. Have you ever stepped into the heart of the forgotten languages? A place where sound is not spoken, but felt, where meaning moves not through words, but through pure connection between souls. As you step away from the wall of infinite symbols, leaving behind the drifting shapes and glowing fragments of unspoken memory, the air around you shifts once again, but this time it is not colder, not warmer. It is quieter, not silent, but impossibly gentle, as though every sound here moves slower, softer, deeper, and ahead of you, the space opens into a vast circular chamber, its walls rising smooth and pale beneath a ceiling lost in darkness. There are no books here, no shelves, no writing. This is the forgotten languages, a place where all things lost in speech, all voices erased by time, all meanings that no language could hold, still linger quietly, waiting not to be spoken, but to be felt. As you step further into the chamber, the air hums faintly around you. Soft waves of sound, low and delicate, flow beneath your feet, around your body, through your very breath. It is not music. It is not a voice. It is feeling given shape through soundless sound, and slowly, almost without realizing, you feel your own thoughts beginning to slow. Your mind grows softer, your heart grows quieter, and something within you begins to listen, not with ears, but with presence. Shapes rise gently in the air around you, not light, not words, but pulses, curves, motions like color drifting in the dark. They pass through you without resistance, not touching skin, but stirring memory, a longing for things you cannot name, a comfort from places you have never seen, a quiet, perfect understanding that needs nothing spoken aloud. And slowly, you realize these forgotten languages were never lost. They were never gone. They have only been waiting for silence, waiting for stillness, waiting for hearts open enough to feel without needing to explain. As you walk slowly through the chamber, These pulses of meaning move with you, soft waves rising gently like breath released in peace, sometimes warm like a distant childhood memory, sometimes cool like moonlight on calm water, sometimes weightless like laughter in a dream. You pause near the center of the chamber. Here, the waves gather more closely, rising not to surround you, but to welcome you. They spiral softly around your heart, your thoughts, your spirit, and you feel fully, deeply connected, not because you understand, but because here, understanding is feeling. You stay for as long as you need, breathing slowly, letting the forgotten languages speak in ways no word ever could, letting meaning rise not from thought, but from presence. And when you feel ready to leave, the waves do not stop. They do not fade. They linger softly within you, becoming part of your rhythm, part of your memory, part of the quiet story you now carry within your heart. And as you step gently toward the far edge of the chamber, you glance back one last time, because you have not left them behind. They are with you now, forever. Have you ever stood before the mirror that reflects stories? A surface not made to show your face, but to reveal the forgotten pieces of your soul, the silent stories that shaped you long before you ever spoke them aloud. As you leave behind the soft echoes of the forgotten languages, feeling their presence still moving quietly within your chest, the path ahead begins to shift once more. The air grows cooler here, not cold, but clear, like stepping into a space untouched by sound or movement. Ahead of you, standing alone beneath a soft beam of astral light, rises the mirror that reflects stories. It is larger than any mirror you have ever seen. The mirror ripples slowly, its surface moving like calm water, held perfectly still until touched by thought. You step closer, and as you do, the space around you softens. There is no noise here, no whisper, no hum, only stillness. And then, within the soft curves of the mirror's surface, you begin to see them, fragments of moments from long ago. Some feel known, memories from days you had almost forgotten, a childhood dream, a place once loved, a laughter shared beneath distant stars. But others feel even deeper, older, stories from your heart, not your mind, things you have always carried within you, without words, without form. Until now, the mirror shifts slowly, its surface pulling images from within you, not to display, not to expose, but to honor. You reach out a hand, not to touch, but to feel the nearness of those stories. And the mirror responds, not with movement, but with stillness growing even more profound. Here, in this moment, you are not looking at a reflection. You are looking at the quiet map of your spirit, the places you have traveled within, the dreams you have held, the sadnesses you have survived, and the hopes you have never lost. All of it alive before you, moving like soft light beneath water. You do not feel judged. You do not feel exposed. And as you stand there, Breathing slowly, heart open, the mirror changes once again. The images fade, but not away. They fold gently back into the surface, not lost, but returned, because here, stories are never gone. They live within you, waiting always to be remembered, felt, honored. You step back slowly, feeling lighter, not because you have left anything behind, but because you have reclaimed something forgotten. The strength of your own quiet story, the beauty of the path that brought you here, and the knowing that every step forward carries those stories with you. Have you ever entered the quiet of sacred knowledge? A place where wisdom no longer hides in words or symbols, but floats in the air like invisible music, waiting not to be read, but to be felt deeply within every part of your being as you step away from the mirror that reflects stories, leaving behind the soft glow of your own silent memories, folding once again into the walls of the library. You begin to notice a change in the very heart of the space surrounding you. There is a stillness here unlike anywhere you have walked before, not empty, not cold, but full, impossibly full. So much so that the air itself feels thicker, richer, as if every breath you take carries within it 1,000 untold stories, waiting quietly just beneath the surface of thought. The floor beneath your feet shifts to a soft texture that feels neither stone nor earth, but something in between, something ancient, woven not from material, but from moments. The light here is softer, no longer rising from above or around you, but radiating faintly from the very walls themselves. A golden hush that seems to move with the slow pulse of existence itself. And then you realize something extraordinary. There are no books here, no shelves, no scrolls, no symbols, no written words, because this is the quiet of sacred knowledge, a place where wisdom no longer needs form. It exists here like the scent of a flower carried on invisible wind, like warmth drifting from sunlight without ever seeing its source, like the echo of a voice you cannot remember but will never forget. As you walk slowly, you begin to feel them, layers of presence, currents of meaning, drifting gently through the air like mist, moving in slow circles around you. You pause, breathing deeply, feeling every part of this space reach toward you, not to pull you in, but to remind you that you are never separate from it. The wisdom here is not something you discover. It is something you remember, something you have always carried within the quiet spaces of your heart. And yet, here, in this place, it feels clearer, softer, more alive. You notice shapes moving gently above you, faint spirals of golden energy rising and falling like thought given form, like memory given movement. They float not in patterns, but in flow, drifting toward you and away again, without urgency, without destination. You sit slowly upon the soft floor, letting yourself settle fully into this quiet, this presence, this ancient knowing. Have you ever looked into the mirror that reflects stories? A mirror unlike any you have seen before. A mirror that does not show your face or form, but reveals the untold moments, the secret dreams, and the silent journeys that live within your heart. As you step away from the last echoes of the forgotten languages, your senses still vibrating with the touch of meanings beyond words, the path ahead begins to shift. The space narrows again, not to confine you, but to guide you, to pull your attention gently inward. And there, waiting in the quiet glow of soft astral light, stands the mirror that reflects stories. It rises from the floor like a doorway carved from stillness itself. Tall, curved at the edges, its surface neither glass nor metal, but something else entirely, something alive. You feel it before you truly see it, a quiet hum beneath your ribs, a warmth rising in your chest, not fear, not hesitation, but a strange, peaceful curiosity. This is no ordinary reflection. This mirror does not show what others see. It shows what is real within you. The stories you carry, the memories you forgot, the dreams you never dared to name. As you step closer, the surface of the mirror ripples softly, like water touched by distant wind. You pause before it, not out of doubt, but out of respect, because here, your presence alone is enough. There is no need to reach out, no need to ask. The mirror already knows, and slowly, images begin to rise within its shifting surface, not clear at first, not sharp, but like memories unfolding from long-forgotten dreams. You see moments from your own journey, a distant smile, a quiet sadness left behind, a place you once loved, a time when wonder felt endless. But there is more, much more. Beneath the surface, other shapes begin to bloom. Stories you have never told, fragments of who you are beneath the noise of everyday life, pieces of your spirit waiting quietly to be seen. And somehow, impossibly, this reflection feels lighter than you expected. There is no judgment here, only recognition, only love, only deep, patient presence. You stand quietly, allowing the images to unfold, allowing yourself to be fully seen, not by others, but by yourself. You feel the warmth of your own journey settle gently around your heart, not as weight, but as light, as belonging, as truth. And then the mirror begins to change once again. The images soften, fade, not disappearing, but folding gently back into the surface, Because these stories do not belong to the mirror, they belong to you. They always have. You step back slowly, breathing deeply, feeling the quiet hum of the space around you. And in that moment, you understand. The mirror that reflects stories is not here to hold your reflection. It is here to remind you that every step you take, every dream you carry, every memory you hold, have you ever entered the quiet of sacred knowledge? A place where wisdom no longer needs to be spoken, where understanding moves not through words, but through silence that lives and breathes like something ancient and alive. As you leave behind the mirror that reflects stories, feeling the warmth of your own untold memories still glowing quietly within your heart, the path ahead begins to transform once again. The walls of the library soften here, their towering presence shifting into something lighter, smoother, almost invisible. There are no more books around you, no more shelves reaching for the sky. Instead, the air itself thickens with something impossible to name. Presence, a calm, ancient, watching presence. The ground beneath your feet feels softer now, warmer, like you are walking not on stone or wood, but across the surface of thought itself. And ahead of you, in the center of this endless quiet, rests the quiet of sacred knowledge. It is not a place marked by structure. It is not a chamber defined by walls or doors. It is a space, a feeling, a living stillness waiting patiently for you to arrive. As you step forward, the air grows thicker, but not heavy. It presses gently around your body like a soft embrace, slowing your breath, softening your heart, inviting every part of you to become still. You pause here, not because you must, but because stillness feels natural, feels perfect. And in this perfect quiet, you begin to feel something extraordinary. Wisdom, not in sentences, not in voices, but in presence, in the weight of the space itself, in the hum beneath your thoughts. This wisdom does not teach with words. It teaches by existing, by being. The longer you stand here, the more the noise within your mind begins to fade. Thoughts slow, questions fall away. Even curiosity softens, not because there are no answers, but because here, in this sacred stillness, the need for answers disappears. You begin to feel yourself expanding, your body still, but your awareness unfolding like the petals of a flower beneath unseen starlight. And within that expansion, memories rise, not of events, not of stories, but of feeling, of knowing, of being connected to something impossibly vast and impossibly kind. This is the quiet of sacred knowledge. And here, knowing is not given, it is remembered. You close your eyes, letting your breath move slowly, effortlessly, until even the rhythm of breathing fades into stillness. You do not need to understand how this space works. You do not need to grasp its secrets. All you must do is be present, And within that presence, the knowledge unfolds naturally. Have you ever stood before the final doorway of return, a place that does not lead you back to where you were, but carries you gently into the person you have quietly become along the way, as you leave behind the quiet of sacred knowledge, still feeling its silent presence breathing softly within your chest? The path ahead stretches long and patient before you, but this path feels different. It does not pull you forward with mystery. It does not surround you with the hum of forgotten stories. Instead, there is peace, there is calm, there is a soft, almost sacred stillness that moves with you, not around you, but within you and ahead. In the heart of this endless ancient library stands the final doorway of return, knowing that one day every traveler must reach this place. You walk slowly toward it, your steps soft upon the smooth floor, your breath carrying the rhythm of all you have seen, all you have learned, all you have become. This doorway is not a barrier. It is not a test. It is an invitation, a moment of pause between what has been and what will be. As you draw near, you notice that the surface of the doorway is neither solid nor empty. It shimmers gently, like the surface of water reflecting distant starlight, like memory suspended perfectly in time. You pause for a moment, standing quietly before it, not because you are unsure, but because this place deserves stillness. It deserves reverence. You look deeply into its surface, and for a breathless moment, you see them, all the places you have walked, all the stories you have felt, all the forgotten dreams you have carried, floating gently within the shimmer, like distant reflections of the soul you have always been. And beyond this doorway waits not an ending, expanded by story. Without hesitation, you step gently toward the doorway, and as you move, it responds. The shimmer wraps around you like light given form, like memory given motion, like home given shape. And as you pass through, there is no rush, there is no sound, only a perfect stillness, a perfect softness, a perfect peace, like floating between breaths. Have you ever entered the quiet of sacred knowledge? A place where wisdom no longer needs to be spoken, where understanding moves not through words, but through silence that lives and breathes like something ancient and alive. As you leave behind the mirror that reflects stories, feeling the warmth of your own untold memories still glowing quietly within your heart, the path ahead begins to transform once again. The walls of the library soften here, their towering presence shifting into something lighter, smoother, almost invisible. There are no more books around you, No more shelves reaching for the sky. Instead, the air itself thickens with something impossible to name. Presence, a calm, ancient, watching presence. The ground beneath your feet feels softer now, warmer, like you are walking not on stone or wood, but across the surface of thought itself. And ahead of you, in the center of this endless quiet, rests the quiet of sacred knowledge. It is not a place marked by structure. It is not a chamber defined by walls or doors. It is a space, a feeling, a living stillness waiting patiently for you to arrive. As you step forward, the air grows thicker, but not heavy. It presses gently around your body like a soft embrace, slowing your breath, softening your heart, inviting every part of you to become still. You pause here, not because you must, but because stillness feels natural, feels perfect. And in this perfect quiet, you begin to feel something extraordinary. Wisdom, not in sentences, not in voices, but in presence, in the weight of the space itself, in the hum beneath your thoughts. This wisdom does not teach with words. It teaches by existing, by being. The longer you stand here, the more the noise within your mind begins to fade. Thoughts slow. Questions fall away. Even curiosity softens, not because there are no answers, but because here, in this sacred stillness, the need for answers disappears. You begin to feel yourself expanding, your body still, but your awareness unfolding like the petals of a flower beneath unseen starlight. And within that expansion, memories rise of being connected to something impossibly vast and impossibly kind. This is the quiet of sacred knowledge. And here, knowing is not given, it is remembered. You close your eyes, letting your breath move slowly, effortlessly, until even the rhythm of breathing fades into stillness. You do not need to understand how this space works. You do not need to grasp its secrets. All you must do is be present, and within that presence, the knowledge unfolds naturally. Have you ever walked the final steps of a journey so ancient, so silent, so deeply woven into your spirit, that leaving does not feel like an end, but like carrying an entire world quietly within your breath forever? As you stand at the threshold of the last corridor within the eternal library, you turn slowly, allowing your eyes to move across the soft glow of everything that has become familiar. The towering walls that once felt endless now feel almost gentle, like old friends watching you with quiet pride. This place has shaped you, not through lessons written on pages, not through words whispered by distant voices, but through presence, through stillness, through every forgotten memory that rose slowly like morning light within the depth of your heart. And now it is time to leave. But leaving here is not like walking away from a place built of stone or time. Leaving the eternal library is like exhaling after holding your breath for years. It is like standing at the edge of a dream and realizing the dream has folded itself quietly into every part of you. You begin to walk. Your footsteps no longer echo with hesitation, no longer falter beneath the weight of curiosity or uncertainty, but flow naturally, softly, like the final lines of a story that never truly ends. You feel the hum beneath your feet grow fainter, the walls becoming softer, the symbols within them folding back into the silence, waiting patiently for the next dreamer who dares to wander these ancient paths. And as you reach the final curve of this impossible place, you pause one last time, not because you doubt the path ahead, but because every part of you wishes to say thank you. Thank you for the stories, for the quiet, for the remembrance of things you had forgotten to love within yourself. You turn slowly, lifting your gaze to the space behind you, seeing not walls or books or corridors, but a world built entirely from memory, entirely from presence, entirely from the parts of you that have always been sacred. And then, gently, peacefully, you step forward. The entrance through which you once arrived now feels different. It feels like walking not away from something, but towards something greater within yourself. The light shifts completely now, folding itself behind you like a gentle hand resting against your back. A quiet reminder that the library never truly stays behind, because it lives within you now, carried in the rhythm of your breath, in the calm of your thoughts, in the steady, quiet strength of your heart. Have you ever awakened from a journey so deep, so ancient, so beautifully distant from the world you once knew, that even when your body slowly begins to remember itself, your heart still lingers within the soft glow of forgotten stories, gently wrapping around your soul like a second skin that refuses to let go? As you move forward, leaving behind the final shimmer of the eternal library, not in haste, not with suddenness, but with the grace of someone forever changed by all that has been lived in silence, you begin to feel the gentle rhythm of waking press slowly against the edges of your spirit. It is not abrupt. It does not pull you back with force. Instead, it rises quietly around you, like morning light spilling across the soft curves of a world still resting beneath sleep's gentle hands. Your breath returns to its earthly pace, slow at first, like distant waves gently finding their way to familiar shores. Each inhale carrying within it not only life, but memory, not only air, but presence, not only movement, but the soft vibration of stories long carried beneath the surface of your being. The ground beneath you no longer hums with astral energy. The walls of wisdom no longer surround you in endless curves of light. Yet their absence does not feel empty. It feels whole. It feels calm. It feels like you are standing at the threshold between dream and waking, not as a visitor hurried away, but as a soul who has gathered something eternal and now carries it everywhere you will ever go. You begin to notice the gentle weight of your body return, the softness of the surface beneath your skin, the quiet awareness of space forming once more around the shape you left behind. But still there is no rush to leave this fragile space between worlds. No need to hurry back into noise, into thought, into the ordinary, because this moment, this delicate breath between dream and reality, is sacred. It is the place where every step you took through the eternal library still echoes within the quiet chambers of your heart, where every story that touched you still glows like distant stars spinning gently beneath the surface of your skin, where the silence of all you learned continues to speak without sound or word or form. You stay there for as long as your spirit desires, breathing slowly, feeling the peaceful hum of presence settle deeply into every forgotten corner within you. Knowing now that the library is not a place to be left behind, but a world forever carried within the rhythm of your breath, the softness of your thoughts, the stillness of your being. And when the time comes, when your heart feels ready, you begin to rise, not away from what was, but toward who you are now, knowing that everything you gathered remains with you, not as memory trapped in the past, but as light woven into the very fabric of your soul.